What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 148 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. Or click on the support link in this episode's description. Your donation of any amount could change a life. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled Signs in a Sober Living House. Welcome back to episode 148 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast entitled Signs in a Sober Living House. I want to give a big welcome to my friends in recovery from the U.S., South Africa, and Australia for their participation in today's group. As before, I'll be keeping them anonymous, but I'll be saying their answers that they sent me as if we're having a live group meeting today. So guys, here's the idea for today's topic. Pretend you are opening a rehab, a sober living house, or starting a recovery group. Which of the following quotes would you frame like motivational posters? How would you explain why each is important to a new person who comes in and sees the sign and is deciding whether or not they want to join? You got it? Okay, here's 3 quotes for today. The first one is from Confucius, and it says, "It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop." The second one is anonymous, and it says, "The goal isn't to be sober. The goal is to love yourself so much that you don't need to drink." And the third one for today, also anonymous, is "Recovery didn't open the gates of heaven and let me in. Recovery opened the gates of hell and let me out." Eddie, would you like to start us off today? Sure, David. For me, I would definitely frame the first one. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you stop. You know, the one by Confucius. For me, recovery is not about pace, but more about grace. You would need to take it minute by minute, hour by hour, and day by day. By entering your rehab, they put their hope, lives, and future fully in your hands. My rehab would obviously be a Christian-based rehab. But that being said, there will be a lot of prayer, intervention, rebuilding, nurturing, molding, etc. All of the above take time. So it's not about how slow we go. It's about not stopping. Great start, Eddie. Thanks for that. Anyone else like this first quote? Go ahead, Dante. David, it doesn't matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Some of us will have the good fortune of exceeding to the highest of heights regarding our path in life and getting there with the utmost level of impressiveness. But getting through and staying in recovery is not an impressive process. We're not in it to impress other people. It is a strenuous, and at times, it's just a feeding process. If remaining steadfast, it becomes a process as well as of joy and hope because of our perseverance. So I would tell guys, persevere. That's so true, Dante. We can never forget that recovery is strenuous work that requires perseverance and steadfastness. Charlie, you also have a reaction to the first quote? Sure, and David and guys, I'm actually in the process of looking at the beginning stages of attempting to build a team to open sober houses and possibly some rehabs if it's God's will for my life, and I believe it is. In doing so, I recently visited a rehab to get some research in. Actually, the first thing I noticed was a sign on the wall. So I guess signs are important. You know, certain things can plant seeds in the minds of people. I'd start with a sign that says, Doesn't matter how fast you go, just don't stop, like that first quote. Anything is obtainable in life as long as you don't give up. It will also confirm to those who do stick around and hear, progress, not perfection. That's healing to a lot of folks in their early recovery to understand it's okay to make mistakes. Because actually, it is important to make mistakes so we can grow. I think this keeps a lot of people sick in their addiction because they're trying to be king of the mountain. Sure. That's a great sign right there that you added, Charlie. Progress, not perfection. And I'm sure Dante would agree with that as he just shared the warning about trying to be impressive and that recovery is not an impressive process, but a feeding process. Yeah, Charlie, you have a reaction? Well, David, if everyone's done with the first quote, I also like the second quote, so can I start that out? Sure, Charlie, go right ahead. Well, I'd choose that number 2 sign to be in the vision of someone needing recovery because it's also important to know what we're striving for. And the quote again is, the goal isn't to be sober. The goal is to love yourself so much that you don't need to drink. What a great sign that would be, David. Because we're not only striving to be sober, but to unlock the door to a new world of endless possibilities. We don't often know it early in recovery, but there is no human power or earthly item that can make life grand. The only power to make life worth living is love. And for me, God is love. Once we learn that love is the answer and become willing to learn to love differently, that door surely will swing open, and through it we find a new peace and a new happiness. When we love God, love others, and love ourselves, we become free. Free from all the darkness and life's trauma and missteps that had us chained and weighed down. So many folks don't even realize that just by finding self-love, one can now forgive, practice self-care, gain self-esteem, and find purpose. When God gives me the assignments of opening up these rehabs or sober living houses to help others in my area, you better believe my goals are to teach what these signs preach. And the first thing is to do is God what he wants in prayer, and to bring in the people that he puts in my life who are godly, kind, and compassionate. People who can be examples of the light of the Lord for all to see. Great start to this second quote on the importance of learning to love yourself. Thanks a lot, Charlie. Ben, you got something for us? Yes, David, I agree with Charlie. The goal isn't to be sober. The goal is to love yourself so much that you don't need to drink. Without a doubt, that's been the motto of my own personal life, and what better way to share perspective or vision than with something that has worked and is working for yourself. I would explain to them that quite often relapse or just addiction in and of itself stems from the burden we carry of trying to be everything to everyone else, while leaving ourselves on the back burner. Or heck, never even taking ourselves out of the cabinet, much less being on the back burner. Once you put you on the front burner, the temptation is going to be to feel like you are being prideful. But nothing could be further from the truth. True humility is making sure you are okay. Kind of like the airplane instructions to put your mask on first and make sure you're okay before you help someone else put their mask on. Sure. Thanks, Ben. I like how you reminded us that we could be isolating so much that self-love is not even on the back burner. It's in some box in the kitchen cabinet. Good word. Harry, would you like to close the session today? Sure, David. I would actually put up the third quote for my sign, and that says, recovery didn't open up the gates of heaven and let me in. Recovery opened the gates of hell and let me out. And guys, recovery definitely bailed me out of hell. The life, the drama, the hellish evil person I was rescued because of recovery. The things we did as addicts sometimes stays with us for the rest of our lives. There's no chance of us speaking about it to our counselors or pastors because some of this stuff is absolutely unexplainable as to why we even did it. The only proper reasoning is that when we consumed drugs, we became something else. I remember being tormented by evil spirits and having them talk to me and manipulate me into doing things that I will never do or say while I am sober. I ruined relationships with so many good people. Until today, they have kept my actions a secret and not tried to defame me or call me out on things. I appreciate the recovery program and the angels and humans God blessed me with to walk this road of recovery. Good closing, Harry. When you said we consumed drugs and became something else, it reminded me of the section in our From Ashes to Destiny curriculum where we're all asked to look at the monster we became in our addiction. Thanks so much, guys, for all your input this week. Maybe we'll do more quotes for Sober Living House signs next week. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you would like to join an online group or get one-on-one counseling to help you in your recovery, or maybe you're running a Sober Living House and just want to get some ideas for signs for your walls, please message me on the link in this podcast or by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com or go to my website www.froma2d.org and click on the contact page. You can keep in touch with what we're doing in From A to D by following me on Instagram at davidfromatod. For our Spotify listeners, you can leave your comments by clicking on the link they provide in that platform. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay strong.